Hello again, everyone. I'm so sorry that it's been so long since I did a video like this. Between getting sick and work and a lot of other things, I kept making excuses. But one thing that's been on my mind a lot lately has been this big question of, are we fighting for what we think we're fighting for? There's been a lot of protests and a lot of discussion just in general lately about equality. And I think that a lot of times, far too often, we confuse equality with identical. Equal and identical are two very separate things. For example, as human beings, as men and as women, compared to each other and compared to ourselves, we are equal. We have equal rights, we have equal responsibilities, or we should. And I believe that the world really is on its way to getting there. However, as human beings, as males and females, and just as people, we are not identical. This world could not function if everyone was identical. For one thing, there would be no diversity to have these arguments about anyways. But more importantly, we all have our own strengths and weaknesses for a reason. Now, I know that there are some of us who refuse to see strengths or weaknesses in ourselves, and there are some of us who refuse to see strengths or weaknesses in other people. That's just a struggle that some people face, but they are there in everyone. I have strengths and I definitely have weaknesses. I know that you watching this have strengths and weaknesses, and I am so glad that they are not the same. Because if we all had the same strengths and weaknesses, if we were all identical, there would be no purpose for us to unite. There would be no purpose for us to try to work together to make this world a better place. Think about it. Think about your strengths and your weaknesses. Imagine if every single person in the world had those same strengths and weaknesses. Would you need anyone? No. You wouldn't need anyone to teach. You wouldn't need anyone to help you learn. You wouldn't need anyone to grow. You wouldn't need anyone at all. And that's not the point of this life. This life is to learn, to grow, to progress in whatever form it may be. And if we are identical, we can't do that. We can't progress because there is no one to teach us and there was no one for us to teach. Now, I am very much for equality. I believe that equal jobs should receive equal pay. I believe that everyone around the world deserves certain rights, that human rights are very important, but so are human obligations. And I think that one of those obligations that we forget far too often is our obligation to help one another, and that does not mean that we are obligated to conform to one another. We are equal, or we are becoming equal, if that is not the case for whatever situation you may be facing right now. But we are not identical, and thank heavens for that. We cannot get so wrapped up in a misdefinition by ourselves, by our peers, by the media, by whoever, that equal is the same as identical. It's not. And the only way we can become equal, honestly, is if we are not identical. Because to become equal, we need to help and support and build on one another. When we are equal, we do not simply stop. It's not like we're going and we're climbing and these people are up here and we're trying to get up there, and then once we reach that same level, we stop. When we are equal, these people down here are striving to get up here, and these people up here are helping these people. And it is only when we work together that we continue to grow. One of the classes that I recently finished, it was a business class, but it focused a lot on interpersonal relations, on interviews, on mentoring, on so many things. And there were classmates of mine with so many different majors, and yet we all found that the central point of whatever field we are looking to go into is networking and communication. It is learning from those who have gone ahead. When we have these mentors, they help bring us up to where they were. They will continue to grow and we will continue to grow. And we, again, have different strengths and weaknesses. We might be better at one thing than this person over here. And imagine what would happen to corporations, to small businesses, to individuals, to society as a whole if we stopped needing to rely on one another. Is that really what you're fighting for? It's not what I'm fighting for. I am promoting and working for equality. But I do not want us to be identical. So I think just really my challenge last time was to politely disagree with people, to point out the areas in which you might agree, and then to have a very productive and civil conversation about what you disagree on and why. My challenge for this time is to really examine yourself. This one's more introspective. To examine yourself and to figure out, are you wanting equality? Are you wanting us to be identical? And then contemplate and see if your actions are really matching up with your true desires. Because sometimes, for all of us, they don't. And that's one thing that needs to change if we are going to change the world. Have a great day.